Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Game Pass Grab Bag, your weekly podcast reviewing games in the Game Pass collection, bringing you three neat perspectives from varying skill range. I am the Pope of this episode, Andrew. With me, the one who took the vow of chastity in high school and in college, Keith.
Hello.
And the one who struggles with demon voices in his head, Aaron.
Keith just got roasted real bad.
I know.
He just said hello after it. Like he just took that. Here's like, hello.
Like,
He's not wrong.
I don't know. What am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to say? You know, you're not wrong.
But this week, we decided to play Indika by Oddmeter. Indika is, I'll read the description, is a third-person story-driven game set in alternative Russia in the late, 19th century, where religious visions clash with harsh reality. Indika tells the story of a young nun who sets off on a journey of self-discovery with the most unusual companion by her side, the devil himself. I wanted to read that description because if you've ever seen the trailer for this game, even the trailer, I'm like, what is going on with this game? And I gotta say, this is one of the oddest games I've ever played. It's interesting, but I wanted to pick this game because I think this was either nominated, and I think it actually won. I know it was at least nominated for Indie Game of the Year. And I remember seeing it at the Game Awards and being like, what is that? And yeah, that is a very good description of what is this game.
I mean, I finished the game and I still kind of went, what is this game?
Yeah. But I guess starting off this episode of whether or not this is a game you should play or a game you should pass on, I wanted to make sure I clarify this for Aaron.
I feel like that's directed to me.
Just in case there's any listeners out there or hosts that might not be clear on that.
If I say pass, but I put my thumbs up, it means I liked it. Just to be clear.
For the thumbs up.
Yeah. I'll just give thumbs up and thumbs down. You guys can interpret it how you want to at that point.
Okay. Oh, well, and I did look it up. It did get nominated for Best Indie Game at the Golden Joystick Game Awards. It won nominated for Games for Impact. And then it was nominated. It's been nominated all over the place, but it only won Best Dialogue for an Indie Game at the Game Audio Network Guild Awards. I didn't even know there was an award. And then the Japan Game Awards, it won Best Game Design. Interesting. But anyway, whether or not this is Indika is a game or a pass, starting out for me, overall I'm going to give this a game because this game had high highs, but it had some low lows. There were moments, specifically with the puzzles, some of these puzzles, where I'm like, it put the game kind of to a screeching halt for me. But this game was so odd, but so cool. It had some like stunning, weird camera angles, weird gameplay mechanics that would just kind of throw in. And there was times where I'm just like, what is happening? But this is cool. Because overall, and by the time the credits rolled, like this was a game that made me like, I understand why it was nominated for Games with an Impact, because it kind of hit me a little bit where I'm just like, man, that was a really interesting story. It's going to be kind of hard to talk about the story because I really don't want to spoil anything with this game. But overall, yes, I think this is a game. It's very short, about 4.5 hours. But man, it's a wild ride.
Yeah, so I think I was gonna start out, and I feel like this is one of those video games where it is art as a video game, or video game as an art. I'm not sure which. I think art is a video game, and so it's like it is from a gameplay perspective. Like you were saying, Andrew, there's points in this I'm like, man, this is annoying, but the way that the story is told and ultimately the story itself it's enough that it makes it a game. It's not something that I'm gonna run out and be like, everybody needs to play this. This is amazing. But I think of, and I've lost the name of it. There was two of them, the one with the voices in your head. Hellblade. It had reminders like of that story of again, like, and it doesn't point it out right away. I don't think it really spoils it, but like you end up talking, your character talks to the narrator, and it's just, I don't know, it's really interesting narratively, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it, despite some of the game itself being a little lackluster at times. So overall, it is a game, and I think it fits what it's trying to do really, really well, but it's not a game for everyone for sure.
I try to avoid that, Keith, saying it's not a game for everybody, because no game is made for everybody. So
I mean,
that's kind of an obvious statement, but I digress. This is
actually
this is a
Actually,
this is a game. Thumbs up, game. Just in case I mess this up again, this is a game. How do you like? I don't know what to make of this though. It is, to me, this is one of those things where you're like, this is an indie game perfected. Like when I think of indie game, this is what I would think of. Like a game that you couldn't pitch to a studio, and you couldn't market this thing. I mean, as you said, the trailer alone is like, what is going on here? You couldn't market this game. And if you're somebody who loves story and single player games, this is actually a pretty good setup for you. It's mostly walking simulator, mostly. But I think a little bit back to the Talos Principle. When I was playing this, I kind of thought, because me and Andrew got back and forth kind of talking about the Talos Principle making you think. And my issue with it was that it didn't really make me think. It just kind of like was presenting stuff, but it didn't alter, it wasn't really kind of creating a story around it that made you really kind of question and try and pick through things. This game does. From the very beginning, as you're seeing if you are watching this on video, even that the very first scenes, you're like, okay, what is going on right now? And then your first like task is so slow, so methodical, and it's done on purpose. And I immediately was like, all right, this game is doing something. Like, this game is about to do something. And something I've never seen before, never really experienced before. It's going to do it. From that very first scene, the kind of pixel art stuff. Gosh, yeah, the art style changes. Even the music is so weird.
Oh yeah, the music is
and it's I don't know how to describe this game. Like, I don't know where to really begin with how strange and interesting this game is, and I didn't expect that. You couldn't when you're looking at the trailer. I don't think you really could even. I didn't know if there was a story in this at all.
And I think it's best to not describe this game. Like, this is something you really kind of just need to experience.
Yeah. One of the things that surprised me, and I'm putting it out specifically because it's in the trailer. So I mean, go watch the trailer if you want to, or if you're watching the video, the trailer, we have it here. But the scene with the nun giving you that wink, like, it's creepy. That whole scene, I wasn't really expecting to have a ton of creepy elements, and I think that it might describe some elements of horror in it, but I wasn't expecting it, and like that one threw me because I was like, because it's a little bit of like dark horror or dark comedy, dark horror, comedic horror, dark. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like comedic horror.
Yeah, because it's like it kind of makes you like chuckle a little bit, but it's really well done.
You're also like, what is happening right now?
Exactly, like it's unsettling. That's what it is.
But man, it is just such an interesting game, and the more I played it, and because it's not so weird that it's weird for the sake of being weird. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there is a through line.
Yeah.
Like, there is a through line, and sometimes you'll play something, or you'll, like, I always complain about this with movies, where I think a movie just is being weird for the sake of being weird, but it really has nothing to tell you. It has no cohesive story to follow. It's just kind of wacky for the sake of being wacky, and I'm just not really into that. I get really bored of that, and I'm disinterested. This isn't that. It's got some of the weirdest stuff I've seen in a video game, but it is a very cohesive and fascinating story all the way through too.
When the credits rolled, I got what happened.
There was a point, heck, like for the first third of the game, I was kind of like, I'm following this, but this is weird, and I don't really know what to make of it, and it settles with you a little bit, but yeah, just a fascinating game, really was.
You know what I thought one of the weirdest parts about it, is is the actual setting, and not to get ahead on like the
Yeah.
actual thing, but like the weird elements of like the really giant fish and the giant fish cans that are just scattered around. Like it's normal sized things blown into proportion. That I was like, am I gonna suddenly find out like that I'm a miniature sized person, like in like the mini world, like ant size, and it isn't, and there's no, and I don't know if this kind of plays into what you were saying with it being wacky for the sake of wacky. Like they don't make a big thing of it. They just let it be, and the story carries on, and it's not really an important element, but it's weird, and it's very noticeable as you're going through the world.
It, again, I want to like. It's hard not to like compare it to other things, but in a way, like I think about Little Nightmares in the sense that like there is this world that is existing, and all of these things are bizarre and weird, but they're clearly normal to your character, and it's kind of has that similar feel where like the land is destroyed. It's like post-apocalyptic almost.
It seems like post-war.
Yeah, I
they're-
think a war is
that's what
going
you do.
on because at one point they blame the Americans for something that was destroyed.
But they're acting as if these things are all kind of normal and like those things aren't really out of place. Like every town you go to is just destroyed.
It's like just
But
like a
they
shanty
talk
town.
about it as if they were here before and they know this place and they recognize they know some of the people in this place and you're like I don't know what to expect of this. Like what am I supposed to take of this? Because it looks like people are gone. Like there are very little you run into pockets of people, but there's just so much vastness of nothing in between that you're like, was this normal? Like what how am I supposed to register this in my brain? And it sounds like they treat it as an alternate universe.
It
according
is
to
an
your
alternate
description.
universe.
Yeah.
Like that has been described. It's supposed to be, like I said, a 19th century Russia, where you play as an Orthodox nun. All right, I guess I should first explain the story. So you play Indika, who's an Orthodox nun who is in a coven, and the game starts off with you just very much. You can kind of tell people kind of shun you; they don't care for you, and you are given some very remedial tasks, and that's how the game kicks off. Which interesting gameplay choice because as Aaron was already saying, the first task you're doing is so mundane, but obviously there's a purpose for it, and so it can be a very slow start for the game. But needless to say, you are sent on a mission to deliver a letter to another church, to a bishop at another church. You are told not to read the letter. You are just supposed to go there, deliver this letter, and go from there. So you find out that you have a narrator in your head who ends up kind of being the devil, and he's kind of putting doubt in your head. He's altering your mind, and so you are going through this journey to deliver this letter, which you stumble across another guy who also is trying to go to another church, this church that you're going to. So you are joining together on your journey. That's about all I want to say with the story because it's interesting. But yeah, this world is definitely meant to be a off world because it's a bit industrial punk. There are things that clearly don't exist, like these weird motorbikes that also are like steam with like they have like a straight up chimney on them. The world actually reminded me a bit of Dishonored, like especially with those giant fish. I remember in that game there was this huge fishing district, and they were like harvesting whales. So this game, like you were saying, Aaron, like there is some things that I'm like, oh, you could probably see they probably got some inspiration from, but it does very much feel like the real world. But there's just these little things that pop up, and you're like, that's not right. Like that doesn't exist because I thought this was just Russia or something or Russia adjacent. But then, yeah, like I said, then you're finding like the steam motorbike, and it's like, what is this?
Yeah, and story-wise, the story moves along nicely. I didn't think there was like a lot of downtime in between. It actually does a pretty decent job of kind of pacing it. I know I talked about how it was kind of desolate, but you're kind of actively moving in between these scenes.
Yeah,
and you're
the mill was
learning.
probably the slow part for me.
You're learning a decent amount as you're going, though.
Yeah,
But so I think story-wise, it was always kind of fascinating. So I was engaged that entire time, though. It never felt like it really missed.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any points where, like, from a story perspective, I felt like, I don't know, there was any real lull. It's all pretty slow drip, like you were saying, but it just seems to, I don't know, flow nicely, I guess, in just the way they tell it of, kind of unraveling why you ended up in the coven and all your connections and everything that plays out to how you get there. I think, I don't know, it was really interesting. And then there's just like the dialogue that they put around the story that, I don't know, that was the thing that, like you referenced, Aaron, of, like to the Talos principle of like things that you're going like, okay, like this is actually like making me think a little bit.
Yeah. Well, the whole time I'm trying to figure out where clearly the story wants to tell you something. It's very intent on getting a message across to you. And so as you're going along, you're trying to figure out exactly what it's trying to get to you, and it starts to unravel that a little bit more. What did you think though about some of the, again, just adding to the kind of the list of the bizarre stuff, but what do you think about the like 16-bit pixel gameplay for all the flashback scenes?
I thought that was cool.
It's super interesting, but
Yeah.
it was like the game starts out that way. So the very first scenes, the text is in that kind of that, you know, Super Nintendo style text with the blocky letters, and then you're immediately in a scene in like that 16-bit pixelation, and I was like, wait, is the whole game like this? Because I was like, but I saw a trailer. This trailer had like real 3D models in it. Like, I don't know what to expect here. And yeah, just periodically the game just brings you back to that type of stuff. But yeah, gosh, and then when it introduces you randomly very early on to a skill tree
Yeah.
that is useless. It doesn't do anything.
Which
But
I love
it
they
also
kept
tells you
saying
that
that.
immediately.
Yeah.
The very first cut or loading screen, it's like, hey, points are useless, but I don't know, do what you want with that.
Yeah, it was like stop chasing points or don't be upset if you lose points. They don't mean anything.
Did you guys still chase the points though?
I mean,
I
you
mean, I
have
didn't
to.
chase him, but every time
I did.
like if
It's
I,
a video
if I,
game, of course.
I didn't go hunting everything. Although I will say, I don't think it added anything to the actual story itself.
I think it
But
did.
No,
some
I
of the
think it
little
does.
some of the little artifacts were really interesting as you go through. Then some of them were pertinent to like the scene or where you were at. But I thought some of them were just kind of interesting.
I think ultimately the game kind of deals with, again, not spoiling. This is more just kind of speculation, but I think the game kind of deals with useless tasks and medial tasks, kind
Yeah.
of. And that seems to be an area it's kind of telling you, stop wasting your time with the useless.
I mean, and I think it clearly is kind of also stating a message too about you collecting these points, because you're collecting these points by doing kind of religious things, of
Yes.
praying and stuff like that. And so there's clearly a message with that too, which I think is pretty interesting,
Oh yeah, I mean,
especially too with the ending.
yeah, I would say it's not a strong endorsement of the Catholic Church. I would say.
Yeah.
Um,
But also too, I will say I don't think it's a straight on bash.
I don't
of the
think it is
Catholic
either,
Church.
and
Yes.
that's why I say like I kind of appreciate the more thoughtfulness of this.
Yes.
Again, just thinking of like weird connecting points for me. Keith, you watched Mrs. Davis, right?
Yes, I did.
On Peacock. This show came out on Peacock a couple years ago with Betty Gilpin. It is this almost as bizarre as this game, honestly. It is about a
as you're saying
nun
it.
fighting against AI, like an AI super intelligence, and it's super bizarre and super awesome. It is a strikingly good show. She's like married to Jesus and stuff like that, but it's not done in weird. So it's like, it's this constant kind of push and pull where it's like kind of making fun of these things or kind of pointing out some of these things. But then like Betty Gilpin's character is like, this is why it was so beneficial for me and why it was so important to my life to have this. And so it actually kind of handled it with care in that balance of her love of being a nun and being a part of the church compared to kind of the realities that are happening around her. This game kind of does a version of that as well.
Well, I think
And I love that.
Well, I think one of the things that make both of those work really well in a way that doesn't make it like a full on like, hey, I'm just gonna make this a rip on religion, but have a commentary on it at the same time, is that they make the two of them both generally good characters that are
Yeah.
just earnestly faithful, and they're not over the top. And I don't know if that makes sense. Like there's something about them, like truly, whether or not you believe it or care or anything, like you can see how much it means to them in their character, and it makes their actions feel impactful. And I just think that they do a really good job of that. Like she just genuinely believes she's doing the right thing. And honestly, she might not be, but she believes it.
Yeah,
And that
but
doesn't
it's
make it
it's
right
done with
either.
earnesty, and I totally know what you're saying because you, I think especially a lot in just media in general, and it's not like I'm taking a shot at it, but like The Simpsons is kind of like an example of Ned Flanders is an over the top caricature of a Christian, of an American Christian character. And it's cheesy and it's tacky. It's supposed to be. That's kind of the whole point. But media in general can sometimes do that with those characters. They're kind of dumb, simpleton type people. And I think when you take
Or
them
evil.
or evil. And so when you're taking character like this, where she's really just being earnest, like you said, she thinks that she's doing the right thing. She thinks she's doing the noble thing, and she's doing it because of a purpose. And I think that that's kind of an important part of characterizing somebody. And I think that shines a lot through the game as well.
Oh, and it's also extra important too because when you find out that it's the devil talking to her,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
her doing this kind of
spoiler.
push and pull of, do I go against what he's saying? Like even though he's putting doubt in my mind, it works very well narratively.
I mean, that one's not too much. I wouldn't call a spoiler, honestly, because it's within the
kind of pretty
first
obvious.
act of the game. Like she starts responding to him.
Yeah.
But like those are some of the most interesting conversations, and I think that it goes back to kind of showing her genuine thought and honesty about it. Like not to get into the full breadth of it, but I guess like where he's like weighing out, okay, so if you do this thing and this is inherently wrong, we call that one thing. Now, if this thing is twice as that, now if I do it twice, is it the same thing? If I do it 10 times, and he uses like, and she's like talking this out, and like you said, she's not a Ned Flanders of just like, Hardy, I'm gonna do the right
Yeah,
thing at
yeah.
all times. But she's like, wait, no, stop, like,
Yeah.
this is a lot, and it's just it's really done, really well done. There you go. Forgot that word.
It's really done.
Yeah.
It's just really
It's
done.
just done. Yeah, and so like this story, and like this is what I was loving. I think this story is so well written. I love what it was doing because you have, the devil, so supernatural character that you're talking with, but then you, like I said, you interact with this other guy, Ilya, who joins you on your journey, who's obviously another real human being. And so it's kind of this interesting dialogue of you're talking to Ilya about reality things and the devil of supernatural things. And it's this constant push and pull of like where your character's going. And then when you're getting the sprinkled information about her past, which when it kind of comes to, it's kind of like, oh, okay, now I understand like why she is and like how things are kind of going. I loved how this story went. A very much to make you think and kind of have you kind of come with your own conclusions, but it definitely had a story, and I loved that. I loved that the credits rolled, and I went, "Oh, okay," like that hit me.
Well, I mean, it has heavy moments too, right? Like
Yeah.
and you're kind of expecting them, but it doesn't make it any less impactful. And you're like, wow, okay. And to be honest, like I don't want to say I didn't get the ending because I liked how it ended, and I think this is one of those, like we talk about it a lot, where it leaves it just a little open for interpretation what you see at the end, but not so much that you're like, well, this makes no sense. It's just kind of like how you choose to interpret like that last scene, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm wrong on that.
No. I no, I'll just leave it up to you, Raider. Go ahead.
I mean, I was gonna say, like, to me, I felt like yes, there was some things you could interpret, but to me, I felt like I got exactly what this game was kind of saying.
Well, you
I
got
don't
it
know if
to
it's
what
about
you interpret
what
it
it-
as.
But yeah, I guess it's
Yeah,
true.
that's what I'm saying. It's not even about what it was saying. I just think that last scene could be almost like Inception. Like you can
what
watch,
scene? Are you talking about the actual game scene or the scene after the credits?
Did I not watch for the end of the credits?
There's an achievement with it.
See, stop
I
looking at the
know.
achievements. I didn't check after credits.
Oh. Well, there's an
I think
achievement
they-
to find the Cudettes, and you get that achievement by watching the end of the credits when you beat the game.
Wait, no, I
in
did
the
then.
menu, there's credits, but that doesn't
Yeah,
count.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Then I did. Yeah, I did get the one for finally because I think I just skipped the credits and then it
It's
goes
pixel.
to that scene.
Yeah, it's a pixel scene. Someone playing guitar.
Maybe not.
No, I don't remember this either.
Okay.
Okay, maybe not.
All right. So then you're talking about the actual in-game scene with her in the pawn
Yeah.
shop. Okay.
Yeah,
Well-
that's the one I'm talking about.
There you go. There's a heads up. Make sure you read the achievements like Andrew always does.
I did too because I was curious. I was like, man, this is a very low achievement score.
Oh,
And
yeah.
It probably could have easily been 1,000 on your first playthrough if you just look at it. But
I feel like a lot of the achievements were an extension of the game
Absolutely.
and were built around like a lot of them were
Failing.
like repeating tedium.
Yeah.
and
Like
a lot of it was
so-
repeating failure too.
Yeah, repeating failures. Yeah, it was kind of so when you're looking at the achievements, because I wouldn't say this was a good achievement game, but that's spoiler. Looking ahead, because unless you're really looking at them, if you went and looked ahead, maybe it would, but to me the achievements were just so weird and out of left field, and it made sense as you're going through the game. Like, oh, all right, this is definitely an extension of what the game's trying to do, which is a cool use of achievements in my opinion. But yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Keith. I was like, I feel like I'm not getting anything. Like I got one by accident because I couldn't really figure out this puzzle, and then I got an achievement, and I was like, oh,
Well, good for you. Then you weren't dying a lot in some of the sections,
no, I died quite a bit.
but not enough to
Shockingly,
get the
you die a
achievements.
lot. No, not to get the achievements though. I didn't die that much. But yeah, it's just again, so many little interesting little nuggets with this game. Really,
Yeah.
really interesting.
But getting into the gameplay though, so as I said, this game is very weird. I don't know if we want to talk too much about some of the side stuff. I don't know.
No, majority of this is a walking simulator.
Yes. Yeah. So majority of this game, yes, is going to be third person, you walking, which I think is also an interesting choice too. You do not get a sprint while you're in the coven, but as soon as you leave the coven, it's like, oh yeah, now you can sprint.
It's a
Here
very
you go.
light jog.
Yeah, but I mean, it's way better than what
It
she
is
was
better.
doing
It is
before
better.
the coven. Because that's the other thing I hated about the coven, where I'm like, it just gives you a marker, go here, and I'm like, how do I get there? Do I go through a door? Where am I going? And yeah, there was a couple times I'm just like, oh my god, I have to walk around this building, and I was just like, this game is struggle for me right now. The beginning was a struggle because, as Aaron said too, there's a task you get to collect water. As soon as I did the first one, and it's like, oh, 1 of 5. I'm like, oh my
No
god!
way.
I instantly turned my headset off, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch a YouTube video. I was like, because I know I'm gonna have to sit here and do this. I need some sort of entertainment because this
But they
is gonna
get you
put
real
me to
quick
sleep.
because
that's
it's
why
after the second one it starts talking to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, this is where I immediately knew, oh, okay, this game's got something to tell me, because there's no
Yep.
way it's going to make this as slow as possible without having a specific reason for it. And yeah, it immediately kind of signals to you where that game's going to go right after you're done with that task. Yeah, so gameplay wise, it's a majority a walking simulator, but you kind of get a little bit of everything in it. You're in a vehicle. You are
first
doing,
person.
yeah, you're doing puzzles.
You get Pac-Man.
You're doing these pixel kind of side scroller things.
Side-scrolling platforming.
Yep, side scrolling platform. You get a mix of things all throughout this game, and I know you're hearing that you're like, wait, what? Yeah, yes, it really is kind of that interesting how it kind of just shifts the game into these different point of views. But there are collectibles, but again, are they pointless or not?
There's not even achievements for collectibles.
No,
I'm pretty sure.
they're just
Some
Which
of
I
them
think
are.
is there because I think that would be the actual most perfect thing is to not even put an achievement for any collectibles in the game.
Yeah, but to me, because we've talked about this before on these types of games, on these mostly kind of walking simulators. Do you like the collectibles or not? And I'm kind of really mixed on it. I mostly lean towards the negative. This is the type of walking simulator where this is how you make the game kind of interesting and compelling without having to just. I never felt like, oh, do I need to go check around that corner to see if there's, a corncob pipe I got to pick up for no reason? There was never any instances like that. It was, if I went and explored it, I wanted to kind of go see if there was something weird back there.
Yeah, I mean, and it was all
that
like
was it.
artifacts and stuff.
Yeah, but I never,
Mostly pretty interesting.
but I never really cared. You are right though that some of those are like interesting iconography. So the things that you pick up, some of them do kind of give you an interesting kind of backstory on some of that stuff.
The Saint Bartholomew one was the one that stuck out to me the most. The story of him and the animals, but he got into a fight with a bear and he hit it.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why that I read that I was like, oh, that was kind of an interesting little nugget I just read.
Yeah. So even then, yeah, some of those trinkets were okay to pick up, but yeah, it does nothing. It doesn't change the story. You don't get an achievement for it, and the points aren't worth anything.
So Andrew's showing video again, and this too, just completely. I don't want to say it doesn't fit the game. Well, I mean they're throwing a racing game, all these things.
Yeah.
It feels like a 1980s like cinema trailer.
Yep.
Like the things flashing on the screen, cut scenes. It's and none of that is really what this game is about, but they make that part of the storytelling in the trailer somehow.
Yeah. The trailer is making fun of the fact that this game is everything but none of those things. And that is a good description. It is. It has all those different games, all those different styles, but it's also none of those.
Yeah, but I want to talk about some of the very low points for me when it came to the gameplay.
Okay.
There was just a couple areas that really I was honestly like, I want to quit this. Like, this is annoying. The first one was in the mill when you're trying to look for a thing to start the wheel.
Yeah.
And I just like this game. I want to ask you, Aaron, how did you do?
I literally had zero problem with puzzles.
I cannot believe that, because this game gives you zero yellow paint. So there was times where I'm like, this is a puzzle. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't know the objective. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. So the mill was the first one, but the worst one for me was in the cannery, and you're driving the cannery vehicle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what am I doing? Where am I going? Like, it just was not obvious to me. Like, I made a bridge, but as soon as I got out of the vehicle, the guy's like, no, that's not right. And I'm like, I made a bridge. Like, what do you mean it's not right? Like, I can get up here now. And it took me out good like 30 minutes. I'm like, what is this?
I mean, at most, I would kind of trial and error things for like 5 minutes. Like at most before I was like, oh, okay, I know what I'm doing here. So, yeah, I can't like the mill area. So the elevator specifically, I knew exactly what I needed to get the elevator ready. It maybe again took me just a couple more minutes to realize how I get onto the elevator. But again, you kind of do it a couple times. Like, oh, I think I can do this. I initially thought, oh, I have to put the thing down there and jump up onto the elevator from there. And I realized that didn't work. So I was like, well, I only really got one other alternative. And I tried it and it worked. So with those
Is that the
puzzles,
one with the two elevators?
huh?
Is that the one with the two elevators? I'm trying to think of which
It's
one.
the one we
really-
got to climb the counterweights.
Yeah, it's like, well, don't stop spoiling it. Just
How
it's
is
the
that okay?
elevator.
Oh,
So it's
I know.
gonna be-
I know.
oh
What you're
my
talking- that one
God.
took me a
You've
few
already
minutes.
mentioned the devil. You mentioned the counterweight.
The
Stop
devil's
it.
in the trailer.
You
There-
don't know that it's the devil. It sounds like it's just doubt in your head.
So I was
Stop
gonna say-
spoiling the game. Goodness gracious.
I was going to admit that I did actually look up two of them.
That's crazy. How did I
truthfully-
do better at this than you two?
Yeah, that's
Truthfully,
weird.
Part of it is because I powered through this game in one sitting last night.
Well, that's one way.
I sat down and I was starting to hit the point towards the end of the game. I was getting a little bit sleepy, and I was like, oh, I gotta just finish
Oh,
through it and beat this.
Keith can sleep while playing a video game.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. So I knew I was running short on time. So it was the one towards the end. You have to build a bridge.
Yeah, that
with
gave
a
me a little
crane.
trouble too.
And I actually had gotten to the solution myself. I just didn't. I did it in the wrong order, if that makes sense. but that one it was right before that. There was the one where you had to like push a block around, and it was like a weird mirrored upside down world or something like.
Yeah.
I kind of got, and that was the one I looked up. But otherwise, no. I thought like the mill one you were talking about. Now that I remember it, again, couple minutes I kind of fussed around, but I was like, oh, okay. This one, the cannery, same thing. I was kind of like, huh? But then I figured that one out
Usually,
pretty
somebody
quickly.
says something at the very beginning. If you miss it, then it might mess you up.
Which I did.
But somebody usually says something that tells you this is what you need to do right here. And then that's it. You're right. It won't give you any indicator. So if you did not catch what they said, because it's usually what will start to put you in the right direction. Because like I realized that the one where you have to lift the things up and you're going around the train with the giant crane.
Stop spoiling things, Aaron.
All I said was giant
There's
crane.
a train in the game? Don't spoil it.
I said crane. And if they didn't kind of already say something at the beginning,
I said
would've been
counterweight.
lost.
You yelled at me.
I would have been. Yeah, but it clearly gives away where the puzzle's supposed to go. In this. All right, so I'm just kind of surprised that you guys actually struggled with these puzzles. Like I said, it would take me a couple minutes. Like I kind of have to feel it out a little bit, but then I was like, good. And yes, there is no yellow paint in this game. In fact,
They do make a joke about it though.
I was gonna say, is that a joke?
Oh, it has to be.
About the yellow paint shed.
Yes.
Yeah, it was when you were talking. Actually, it's the same scene where they're talking about the Americans, where she's like, "Oh yeah, this is the old paint factory. It's where they make the yellow paint," and you see a bunch of yellow paint all over the walls. I do feel like there was a couple areas where there's a very very faint white paint on things, and I only noticed that it was a little bit drippy, and that was kind of what made it like I think that's what I'm supposed to pay attention to.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise there's not a lot of indicators. But I 100% think, and especially with the way that everything else is told in this game, there's no like, well, it would be a little bit weird if they threw that joke in there. Like, no, that would be 100% on point with what this game is doing.
Yeah. Another gameplay element. I do have a knock on this. So Keith did it all in one sitting, so he would not have experienced this. Andrew, did you ever close this game and open it back up?
Yes.
What was your experience in doing that?
Fine. I actually did a good amount of this on xCloud.
Oh. So did yours just auto start to where you left off?
No, because it was xCloud. So it was fully shut down.
So it warns you when you go to quit the game. I played it on PC. When you quit the game, it's like, hey, are you sure you want to quit? You know, you're not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to load in until your last save point. I have no clue when the last save points were. I have no indication on when it is saving. It literally doesn't give you an indicator when it's saving. If I close down that game, I could be back 15 minutes or 3 minutes. I don't know.
Dang.
Yes. One time I opened it back up and I could not believe how far back it put me. And I was like, this was seriously the last save point?
What part was it? Like,
it was actually pretty early on.
okay, so like in the first town?
Yeah, I was beyond meeting the new character, Ilya.
Okay.
When I turned it off and came back, an hour later, I think I went to lunch, and I came back, it started me before the train.
Oh, okay.
Yes, right?
But the good thing is you have a sprint, and then you can actually skip.
You can skip.
All
It wasn't
dialogue
the
and
end
stuff.
of the world. It wasn't
Yeah.
the end of the world. I was just blown away at where some of these save points were. And there is no indicator. So when you leave, it warns you, but you're like, I can't manually save this. So I'm like, this is horrible.
I gotta say though, to me that kind of makes sense because that area you quit is all story, so it kind of makes sense to be like, oh no, we're gonna put you back to the story, like these key story elements, so you kind of maybe remember.
There are
Because anytime I quit was usually a puzzly action area, and it was like right after the puzzle, so that's why for me I didn't lose much when I saved or left.
there are a lot of story beats that happen between there and then where I left off.
Yeah.
That's why it was a little odd, and it did it a few more times in the game, but I tried to be a little bit more conscious of it moving forward. So like moving forward, I just tried to think a little bit more like ahead of time on, is this probably where it's saving? before I leave. But it would stress me out a little bit because like if I had to go, I was like,
I thought the game had a manual save.
Nope, no manual save. There wasn't on PC.
You might be right.
Yeah, so kind of a knock on it. Didn't really love that. Also, you keep talking about the sprint. That sprint is not much of a sprint. It's not.
I mean, yeah, she's not going to be like running like Master Chief here, but I mean, it's definitely.
Master Chief doesn't have a sprint.
That's
Yes,
the
he does.
What, the third one?
Heath clearly has not played the newest Halo.
We're talking about original Halos, Andrew. He does not have a sprint.
I did not say original Halo.
Actually,
That's canon.
well, is
That's
there
the one that
really-
matters.
Is there really anything other than the original Halos, Andrew? Everyone knows it went downhill when he got a sprint.
After that, they showed his butt. So it really went downhill real quickly after that.
I mean,
Well, I wanted to argue
some
they had a
was-
sprint and reach, but I guess technically that was a Master Chief, so I
Yep.
guess you're still technically right. But
No, see, I
Better-
liked like you asked earlier, Aaron, about the like pixelated story elements and everything. I liked those elements. They weren't fun, but it was enough of a shakeup in the normal gameplay that I kind of looked forward to them because they made them valuable too. Not to jump back into the story, but they always made them valuable parts of the story that you were learning something. But I just thought it was interesting to see like what thing they were gonna turn it into, I guess.
It's more just like it's more part of the bigger design that I think is fascinating to me. I'm just trying to think when you're building this game, putting it into that pixelated game stuff wasn't necessarily pertinent to the story, but it did shake it up, and it
Well, I was
made it
gonna ask,
stick
do you
out more. I
think
think
there's a
because
reason?
it's so different.
yeah,
Like, do you think there's a reason that they intentionally did that? I guess.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Like I'm thinking this will stick out more and have an impact because it's totally different than what they've experienced so far.
what I got, so since this is an indie game, if you play indie games, you kind of know indie developers love to make comments and not jabs, but like they always love to share things with each other. Case in point, Balatro. Balatro's like in everything now.
Yeah.
You play something and it's like, hey, it's an indie game. Here's Balatro too.
It's in Left or Dead by Daylight now.
Yeah. So my thing is, for me, I got a lot of Celeste vibes because Celeste does a lot of time travel back in the day, and it's the same kind of art style. So to me, I was kind of getting a vibe of, oh, they kind of took this from Celeste.
Yeah, I could see that, and it's very emotional scenes too.
Yeah.
And like that really center
And the
around
music.
her grief. Well, I mean, in general, I think it actually makes the music throughout the entire game make more sense and better in a way. Like you guys are saying, it's kind of weird. It's weird in a way that it doesn't fit the overall vibe at some certain points, but it's so cool. Like
Oh, yeah.
I was loving the music.
I already know Andrew's going to Spotify because he needs to check if the soundtrack exists. He's got to go check it out.
Ah, they have it.
So
Over 1 million plays?
No, only like 8,000 players.
Oh, I believe this game is way under the radar. I believe this.
Because
it is and isn't
cover.
Yeah,
You're right,
I
but
I
that's
think
if
it would
you're-
have an ultra fan base that would be
Yes.
into it. But
So on Steam, it has a very positive review with over 2,000 reviews on it. And like I said, this game got nominated. Like, because honestly, I did not hear anything about this game. The only reason I saw it and recognized this game was because of the Game Awards. I remember it being nominated and being like, "What is that? Like, that is weird."
yeah,
And yeah, so like this is a very under the radar indie game, and that's why I'm glad we're covering it because it's very interesting and it's very cool.
yeah.
Our tens of listeners will be compelled to go check
Yes,
this
they
game
will.
out.
They'll have no choice.
But
Um,
I like top to bottom, like the music was cool. I loved the overall dialogue. The voice acting was really good. Like it just felt very like I don't know. It added to the impactfulness of all the
Oh, man.
conversations that were happening.
So
Andrew's
the-
in the bed today.
Pulling this up on Spotify, the names of the song, very first song, Genesis, second song, Exodus, third song, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy,
Andrew.
Nahum.
Those
Wait.
are the books of the Bible.
I know. I'm
No.
like, man, they actually named the songs after the books of the Bible. Like, that's actually really cool.
Is it the whole Bible or just
No.
the Old Testament?
Well, because then too near the end there's apocalypse, and then it ends at Zephaniah, which I'm assuming that's the most played.
Just
I'm
hit the
assuming
cliff
that's
notes by the end there.
Yeah, I'm assuming is this the really cool song? Because the very first song this game hits you with when you're in the coven, I was like, this is a cool song because it's super weird.
Yeah.
It's like slightly unsettling, slightly like electronic, and I was just like, this is a really interesting vibe.
It's just add it to the list of elements of this game that just don't quite add up. And it's all cool. Take it all together and all of it's cool, but it just doesn't quite add up to what you're seeing and experiencing.
But in such a way, like, how many times do you look at something and you're like you can't just put on a sandwich like pickles and grape jelly and marshmallow and, you know, a slice of ham and be like, well, that's all good and it's cool because it's just a bunch of different flavors. That's kind of what they've done with Indika.
Yeah.
But it's really good.
Yeah, but it actually works. Yeah, this is a fascinating game. It really is.
And the voice acting is phenomenal.
Yes.
I really like this voice acting. The way the devil speaks is so good because it's very kind of calming, but it's also filling you with doubt. But then there's these moments in the gameplay where he just shows his true colors and like it starts to get kind of violent. It's like, oh. And so like the voice acting of how these characters are conveying emotion, and like with the graphics too. They did. I wish they did a little bit more of it because they showed it more in the trailer, but they do very much mocap, and it's happened most in the beginning where the camera's very much stuck right in front of the person's face. So 90% of your screen is like a GoPro on the person's face as it's moving around. I wish they kind of did a little bit more of that elements, but I mean it's so good though of how they do it.
I can't we should be interviewing this developer because
I
I want to know why they did that. Like, what was when you're playing a game like this, and as you're starting to kind of like unravel the bits and pieces of it, what happens is in my brain, I feel like everything I experienced was done for a specific reason. You know, when you get to the end of it, you're kind of like, oh, that thing probably happened because of this. Oh, that's because this served that message. Oh, you know, this was adding to that. So when you see an element like that, that is so bizarre, it's so shocking because you don't experience that in any other video game. I can't think of a single video game that does that mocap camera right in front of your face, the close up.
Hellblade did.
As it's kind of swinging around. Okay, so but either way,
it's that same element though, where it's
Yeah.
very much like a in your head story.
Yeah.
And so it fits that, and that's where at least that one, I think that's what they were going for with that type of motion capture, because it's like that goes back. I mean, it's cinema forever. Like something about making something very like dramatic inside someone's head. I feel like there's like Twilight scenes.
Usually it's
Twilight
done a
Zone
little
scenes.
differently. Like you'll see it in action films, and what they'll do is they attach a rig to the chest and it comes out to the face. But what it's actually doing is giving a much more panoramic view as they're doing an action scene. This felt like it was coming from the head and was too close to the face. So it makes the face look really narrow and it doesn't give a panoramic view. It was a very specific choice in how the camera was angled. So
Like if you're
instead
like
of it,
forehead to forehead with someone, like that
yes,
type of perspective.
that's exactly what it looks like. It looks like you're forehead to forehead kind of looking up at them. And that's why to me it is so interesting because it's a very specific choice. It's not just directly in front of the character giving a close up but like still have an idea of things happening behind them. It's much more tight to them. It's very, very strange. I love it. Again, love it. But it was just such a specific choice. It just made me wonder, was the idea that it does make you feel distorted, that it makes the character look distorted, and that was kind of an unease and uncomfortable that they wanted to have? I don't know. It's just interesting.
I mean, another camera thing they did that I absolutely loved was the beginning credits when you're leaving the coven, and it's like it goes like 2D to like 3D, and it's like how your character is walking through these halls while it's giving the credits. I'm like, this is a cool shot.
Super cool.
Only time they did it though, which I thought was a little disappointing. But I think once again, it is kind of a choice of how a lot of these kind of weird things that are happening are in the Coven. Like that was the majority of it.
Also, something I wonder, the weirdest elements kind of happen very early on in the game. There's still plenty of weird stuff to come,
Yes.
but to me, the most bizarre scene is one of the last scenes before you leave. With I'll just say
Yeah.
the dancing guy.
Yeah.
Like you don't
Awesome
have
scene. Awesome
it's a
scene.
super awesome scene, but you're like, what
Yeah.
the heck? And it doesn't really happen again. Like there really
Yeah.
isn't an experience quite like that. So I do kind of wonder, like, was that intentional as well, or was that just they really just kind of wanted to set you off, kind of feeling uncomfortable pretty early on?
I mean, I think it just, I don't know. I think, as I said, this is a whole lot of I thinks.
Oh yeah,
Because you're right. Everything feels so intentional, but they don't tell you what it is. And there's a lot of different ways you can take it. And it doesn't change the story. And I think that makes it perfect. Again, with your thinking. But it's part of what does such a good job of it. And I just really appreciate it. And it's funny because I kind of liked this, but the more we're talking about it, I'm like, I really like this. Like, I really, really like this.
yeah. I was having the same experience. I as I was going along, you kind of start out like, all right, I'm interested, but this is kind of strange. I hope this kind of makes sense a little bit. And it wasn't long, but yeah, by the time you get to the end of that, and the more you think it through, I'm like, I've never experienced anything like that. Like I've genuinely, that was a unique experience that I've never had. And that's where I kind of started this off with. This is like indie game at its perfection, where
Yeah.
it was clearly an idea, executed that no major studio would approve this. There's nothing you could market in this game because it's everything and nothing. I don't really know how to kind of quantify that. And so it's just kind of that perfect mix. Keith mentioned it's video game is art, and yeah, but sometimes those games kind of bother me because they're just outside of just kind of enjoying it for the beauty that it is. It doesn't have much more. This does. This absolutely offers you more. So but it is that too.
Including a
it's-
partial nudity scene.
I just don't. Yeah, I don't know how to. I just do not know how to quantify this game.
I wouldn't say I was partial. But it is kind of strange. Like I don't know. I don't have an interpretation or a commentary on this other than I thought it was odd how many games have, and we joke about this, the arachnophobia warning, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna see spiders. You might need to be concerned because there might be a spider-like creature. There is legitimate triggering moments in this game that they don't warn you about, and like nothing that, thank God, I can say I didn't hit me personally, but holy crap! And there's nothing to set you up for that.
You
So
know,
like,
it gives you a flashing lights warning at the beginning. That's it.
oh, okay. Okay.
For the epileptic out
Only
there.
warning you got.
I'm surprised there wasn't an arachnophobia warning because I saw some cobwebs. But like there is some yikes. Like and
Sure.
and not even in like it's a bad game because it's weird that they don't warn you about some of the things that they warn you about, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there was another thing I wanted to talk about with the audio. But I can't remember. I just love this game's use of the music. Oh, with the graphics though, I thought it was super interesting. The last chapter of kind of switching perspective views.
Oh,
That
all
was-
of a sudden it goes to first person. It's
Yeah.
really jarring, and it
Yeah, very
even
jarring.
took me. It even took me a second to realize. I was like, "What's so weird about this?" It's like, wait, I'm in first person.
Yeah. But yeah, this game was such a trip. And like that's one thing I did absolutely just love about it by the end of it. Just such an interesting journey. I don't know. Do you guys have any other points you want to talk about?
I don't think so. I don't really have a lot to knock on this one, other than some kind of.
Oh, no,
I meant to ask you, Andrew, if you struggled at all with the when you had to do the rotations. I know you had some trouble with that. And is it Lightkeeper? Is that right? Do I have the right name?
Well, rotation.
The
Well, you're
Lighthouse
talking about
game.
Keeper.
Keeper, yeah. Where you can rotate the crane shaft or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know if you struggled with this or if you were able to.
Oh, is it because you have a broken controller?
I
No?
don't know. He kept complaining about how he couldn't turn the left stick in a circle and have it work for him.
Wait, are you talking about like at the beginning of Keeper when I kept saying my
Yeah.
lighthouse kept falling over?
Yeah, because you couldn't. You were trying. You had to like do the crank wheel, and you
Oh
said it
my
was
god.
broken.
Oh yes, now I remember. No, I did not have that issue. Oh my god.
Yeah, but
that
wasn't that-
irritated me so much in
I
There's a
thought that
Keeper.
was an
pretty
issue with your
much you have to-
controller.
No,
I,
it was
I
me.
couldn't tell. No, I don't think it was because I was doing xCloud when I was having that issue, and then I think I still had it one more time. I couldn't. I never confirmed or figured out what it was.
I just know it made you mad, so I wanted to ask you about it.
No. Oh no, but there was one more super cool angle that they did with the camera, and that was at the end of the mill, where it's following the mill as it's going in the water. And it was
Okay.
like super long. I didn't want to say too much of it, but I was like,
No,
like this is interesting.
Dragged out nature of that. It was
Yeah.
because for one, I was sitting there wondering, am I supposed to be doing something? Because
That's what I thought too.
A couple moments where that happens, where it seems like you're watching a cutscene still, because it kind of fades out of it, and you don't know you're supposed to start moving. So I thought that was kind of the case, and then I realized no, it was just really, yeah,
It was very cinematic,
yes.
and it's also really.
It makes you feel sympathetic a little
It's
bit.
an oddly thought, like somebody took time to graphically make sure that it's hitting each rung. And it's,
I've never
and the
seen that
physics of it
happen,
Yes.
worked well.
but it seemed accurate.
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Is it seemed like somebody had to accurately artistically put that together. Again, we're keeping that vague for a very specific
I
reason.
mean, there is a trailer of it in the Steam
yeah,
page.
just don't.
Yeah, I didn't want to actually
Just
play it. 'Cause-
experience it.
See, I didn't want to stream this game either. Because that's the thing, too. Like, that's also why I am not playing my stream in this one. Because I was like, I don't think I should stream this game. I was like, one, because I saw that this game had nudity. So I was like, I don't know.
You
This
could
is a
turn it
game I
off.
should be
Though.
playing.
It was turn offable.
Oh, it was? Oh.
I saw it in the menus.
Another one of those things that like for me personally didn't have an impact, but I feel like you should like warn people because I don't know, not that you're probably playing this game around your kids in the first place, but I don't know, if you're in some sort of setting that you don't want nudity to pop up, it'd be good to be
Yeah.
able to know that.
But yeah, it was wild to me how they did with some of these camera angles. But and then going on to the achievements though, I absolutely recommend this game for achievement hunters.
You do?
Yes, this game
I
has
can
a
see
chapter
why.
select.
I think it only makes sense if you you have to look at them ahead of time. But I guess that's what achievement hunters do.
But
If
you know
you're
what,
an
though?
achievement hunter-
They're not going to ruin the story though.
No.
Truthfully,
No.
like there's nothing about reading them that you're going to be like, oh man, I know what's going to happen.
I-
now." Everything that is hidden for a reason. So I would say don't look up the secret ones.
I just think
Right?
the achievements, a lot of them are forcing you to do not the game. I don't know how to describe it, like fail.
They almost
Yeah.
feel better. They feel better. Like, but I think to Andrew's point is, and this would be my take on it, is just play the game through, get what you get, and then
Yeah.
use chapter select to go back and beat it. Because I think the achievements are more interesting when you discover them naturally because of the way that they're built. But they are built in a way that they're easy to go back and get. I think is what Andrew's saying.
Yes. Yeah, so I actually that's took the words out of my mouth. I would play this game as is. There are missable achievements, but every chapter, like this game is a 4.5 hour game, but there's like 20 chapters. So it is easy to be like, oh, I just need to go to the specific spot. You maybe play a minute or two. You're at the area. You got the achievement. There you go. And as we were kind of saying, some of the achievements are kind of also kind of pointing a point as to what this game's trying to say. So yeah, I went through. I think I got 400 gamer score because I did look at the achievements and I saw fail a bunch of times. So I was like, okay, I'll just keep killing myself. There we go. I got that achievement. So I knew some of them. I don't. Yeah, you're not going to really spoil much if you look at the achievement, but this game is such a interesting package that I would just recommend playing through and then go and get the achievements. But yeah, I 1,000 the game. It took me 15, 20 minutes. Like I said, I got 400 when I beat the game, and it took me like 15, 20 minutes to go and just get the other ones.
Interesting.
Makes sense. I didn't go back and get them, but I figured that was sort of the case.
Like I'm obviously not an achievement hunter. I've said that before. I don't really care about them, but like Keith said, I noticed that I wasn't getting really any. I think I was probably more than halfway through the game, and I think I had 200. And I was
you
like,
tend to
this is
use
kind
them
of
as
weird.
like
So I
a
pulled it up,
marker.
and I was like, oh wow, these are all really weird.
Yeah.
And I was like, and they kind of a lot of them seem to depend on you not doing the thing you're supposed to be doing. So I thought it was just kind of a weird way of doing it. So I thought in my head, I was like, oh, Andrew's probably gonna hate this.
Yeah, but
Well,
like the thing
throw
is
my
too
hands up.
also is like you have to look up online what the achievements are because they're super vague.
Yeah.
Like I said, the cadets one says get the cadets, which you think, oh, that's story driven. I should have gotten it. No, no, no. It's kind of you got to see this weird cutscene at the end of the credits at the end of the game. That's it. So it's like I wouldn't have got that. Like I because when I saw that, I'm like, how do I get this? And I
Yeah.
had to look up online.
I just, maybe this is just another one of those they're throwing you a weird curveball. Maybe it's me just now reading into it because of everything we've been talking about. But so many times, especially in a game like this, where it's mostly a walking simulator, you're going, okay, I'm at 700 achievement score. I know I'm just about at the end of the game. Like it's basically just been giving them to me as I go through, or I'm at 200. I know I'm really still early in the game. I was at the end of the game and I'm like, wait, am I at the end of the game? Am I gonna be? Is this gonna be 1,000 times resistance or 1,000 times resist where I thought I beat the game, but there's like a magical secret super ending that you have to keep playing, but that's actually not a secret ending because it's really just the whole game. Um,
Hey, did either of
no,
you guys ever
it's
go back to that game?
I didn't,
I got a little
but
bit further in it, but we have to move on to the next one.
I know.
I ain't get time to read that. I gotta play Dice a Million. I but yeah, it's like just another. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but it doesn't fit the normal narrative from achievement standpoint in this type of game.
But anyway, let's get into our final thoughts on Indica. So starting off for me, like I said, this game, I gave this a game. I overall would recommend this to just about anyone. It's just such an interesting package. It had a very good story to say. Just some of the gameplay elements had some really lows for me, but the highs were way higher though. I loved how this game, its music, its graphics, its camera angles that it did, super cool. And these random gameplay changes, it's just such a weird, but not weird for the sake of being weird. It actually did feel like the entire story was trying to say something. And by the end of it, I felt like I got what this game was trying to say. It wasn't anything too preachy. It wasn't just, these people are bad and they're awful. It actually felt like it was doing something more intelligent. It had good writing to it, great characters, great dialogue. It's such a weird game to say to people of what it is. If you have Game Pass, I just say, don't even bother looking things up. The more you go into this, I think, with the less you know, probably the better. But even then, I don't know. I think even if you knew some of this stuff, we try to obviously avoid some spoilers, but even too, it's just such an interesting adventure of what is going on and what this story is saying. For me, this is a 90. I really liked Indica.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I feel like thinking back to the start of this, I was a little bit I don't want to say on the fence, I guess, but I still don't know that I would be running around telling everybody that they need to play this game. I think there's, but it would be a game that if someone was like, what's the best game you've played recently? This would be one of those types of games where I'd be like, hey, this was really cool. I don't know if you'll like it, but it was super interesting, and it was short, and like I'd have all kinds of good things to say for it, but I don't think I'd be recommending it to people to be like, this is a fun game, because it's not a fun game. It's a really awesome story with some gameplay elements around it. It's really what it is, and it kind of hit me. I'm basically going to summarize this with my earlier analogy of you can't throw all these things into a sandwich and just say it's good because it has all these flavors. They've done that, but they've done it in a way of a excellent chef that me making a recipe at home, I might look at this list of things and go, that's going to turn out awful. But somebody has developed and figured out all these, ingredients that are going to go together, and they've just developed a perfect recipe.
I think
And
he's
it's
very
kind of what
hungry.
they've done.
Yeah, he does.
Maybe I am, but I just thought it was a really, I don't know. It hit me as a good analogy that kind of fit what I was saying earlier. It's like I just think they've done it in a way that's really perfect. It's weird. It's I don't know. It's an interesting story, and I just really liked all of it. And I'm gonna match Andrew on the 90.
Keith, go get yourself a hot dog. All right, buddy, you're
Andrew
hungry.
was carving down hot dogs.
Yeah, this is.
I need one.
I still got one. It's been sitting in front of me this whole episode. And I'm like,
I-
do I turn my camera off so I can just eat this hot dog?
Truthfully, I would eat a cold hot dog right now. Don't get in my way of that.
I mean, I still got it.
Don't
gonna
flap
heat
it on
heat it.
screen. No one needs that.
This is going to be one of those games that's just a very, very pleasant surprise for me. A game I had no expectations on going into, and it kind of blew me away a little bit. It's hard to pick elements that I really didn't like about it. I don't think we really had, as a group, a whole lot to knock it on. Yeah, this is going to be probably one of those games at the end of the year that I look back at and say this is probably one of my favorite game experiences. And I don't even know how to describe it. So, and it's not like Expedition 33 was a unique, interesting game. It was obviously on everybody's top of the year last year. But I feel like I could easily explain that game compared to this. And yet I absolutely loved this. So yeah, gosh, I'm gonna go a little slightly higher on this one. I think I got to go 92 on this.
I think it's funny. You do, I feel like, rate games usually higher than us.
Maybe I do.
I bet if you went on average, you do.
Maybe when I like something, I think I really, really like it, and I kind of stand by it. I think I'm pretty critical on things, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm a big ol' softy now. Andrew, are you getting a hot dog right now?
I am getting a hot dog.
He's like priming this thing up for the end of this episode. Andrew's over there like, let's wrap this up, boys. I got a dog.
I need some dogs to eat. I mean, I've been trying to figure out if this needs to go on my Father's Day list or not, and it's really just lining up that it might need to be my thing.
I mean, I never. Okay, well, I don't know if I ever said this in the podcast. I decided to buy a hot dog microwave or toaster. You literally just pop the wieners and the buns in, and it cooks it for you. This looks great.
It's great.
This is just sometimes, like, I work third shift, so I'm usually up in the middle of the night, and there's just sometimes where I'm like, man, I just want like something, but I want to cook it. It's
Yeah.
like, man, it's a hot dog toaster.
Hot dogs are perfect for that.
They really are.
You know, I read somewhere though that like every hot dog you eat is like equivalent to a cigarette
Kenny,
in
that's
terms of
true.
your.
That seems like nonsense to me.
I don't
That
want to
seems
believe
like
it.
nonsense right there, yeah.
Andrew just refuses to believe it.
I'm not smoking these hot dogs, Keith. Keith,
But
Keith
you
just
would
wants
if
to
you could.
justify his awful habit.
I watched you eat that first one. You would absolutely smoke a hot dog. If you could. Can I ask a spoiler related question here? Like at what point? Because I
Sure.
want.
I guess
this
now we're
is
at the end of the episode.
So yeah, if you haven't played this game and you don't want spoilers, this is now the time to stop because nothing interesting is ever said at this point, anyways. This will be the only time I do.
It's just hot dog talk.
I did interrupt Hot Dog Talk for that, but really more tried to move it along. Is Ilya just a weird physical representation of the devil in this story? Like, as we were talking about, I'm just thinking about it, like, he really just, to the point where even he just kind of conveniently fits in at the end with the trumpet to distract the pawn shop owner so you can get the cadets. Like, is he just a weird physical manifestation of the devil?
No.
That
I would say no.
okay. I just the thought crossed my mind earlier as we were talking about it, and I was like, it's been burning in the back of my mind, and I personally still think I could see it, but I'm willing to be wrong. I just that
No, because the whole thing to me is, I mean, obviously, as you know, with like kind of Catholicism, it's all about outweighing the bad with the good. And that is essentially her story of her collecting these points, which are supposed to be good points to kind of get her closer to God. And so that's why at the end, when you get the cadets and you can shake it for points, and she's thinking she's getting all these good points, but then she opens it and realizes it's empty. It does nothing. And then as soon as she realizes that, the devil's gone. She realizes nothing was there. Nothing's real. Nothing's true. The devil was never in her head. She's never trying to save her soul by doing these good points. Everything's irrelevant. That's what I got out of it. And that's too why it also makes sense with the constant tips of don't even bother with the points. They're pointless.
Yeah.
no, okay, that makes sense. I guess, and that's where I was kind of wondering a little bit, like the open-endedness of that scene of like, are you really healed per se? Because it's really it's almost like a schizophrenia is what I
Yeah.
felt like she was dealing with. and it's like brought on by like trauma or whatever, and it's, I don't know. It's interesting because that, like, I think of like the conversation she has about choice, where she's like, do we really have a choice, or do we just, like a river, we hit a rock and we're forced to just divert, but we're not really choosing. We just, it's the best course of action.
Yeah. And it's the same with Ilya as well. Like, he was a prisoner. You don't know why he was in prison, but he was a prisoner. And you can kind of tell he's not really a good guy. Like, he does things that are not good. But he is talking like, oh, my hands talk to me. God's talking to me. Like, he's acting like he's religious, and he's trying to be a good person, collect good points. But when he loses his arm and he realizes, oh, it's not coming back, all he really wanted was his arm. And once he realized, oh, this arm's not coming back, I'm going to steal this holy relic, maybe get some bucks. I want to get some booze. You realize he was really doing it for a selfish reason.
He's like the mafia version of a bad guy. Like, he stops the rapist, but he's probably like a murderer or something. Like, he's not a good guy, but
yeah, because he just started.
But that goes back to that whole conversation, and not to get into that whole weight of it, but where the devil really ramps up that conversation where he's like, a rapist versus a murderer. He's like, who's worse? And you're like, I can't get into this right now. I'm trying to play a video game.
I'm just playing a video game, sir.
Like, I don't want to have that conversation right now.
Yeah.
But
that's what I loved.
Yeah,
I thought it was super cool, like, it kind of explaining these things or making you think about it.
No, it was a good experience.
Yeah.
So anyways, that was my one question, my one thought.
But anyway, thank you all for joining us. If you want to reach out to us, go to GamePassGrabBag.com. Check out our website. Check out our past reviews. Top right corner, you'll find the links to all of our things. Come by, say hi, give us some game recommendations, or just talk to us, or go join our Discord. But anyway, I've been your hardcore gamer host, Andrew. You can find me on Xbox Live at Firebird0952. Love you all. See you again next week.
Bye.
If there is a next
say bye.